Hello, Menno here. Now this is a video that many of you have been waiting for. This is M3. Now before we begin, if you wish to skip forward in the video or rewatch a certain section of the video, you can do so using the chapters below. Also, please take a moment to head over to our website and sign up to our mailing list. That way we can keep you informed of any updates or brand new plugins we might be releasing. By the way, we plan to release a brand new plugin around every 3 months, beginning with M3 and running all the way through 2026. So we have a lot of really cool stuff coming your way. Now, setting up M3. Now, for those of you who are already mixed monolith users, setting up M3 might feel a little bit familiar, but there's a twist. The very first M3 that you load into your session, you want to insert on the master fader, okay, before any additional processing. This will be the construct, the mixer construct, for all of the other M3s that you load in your session. And it does not matter if you're loading 24, 124, or 300. They will all show up here and you can scroll and you can do, this is where you're going to deal with all of them. Okay. Now the reason why you're loading the very first one on the M3 on your master fader before any additional processing is this M3 is basically this section here. Okay, so this is your master and this is the default for -20, which feeds a lot of stuff, a lot of your processing after that beautifully. And this is also where you can find the level bump buttons. So if you watch the level bump trick video that I did with mixed monolith, that is now written into M3, meaning as your song is playing and you're mixing your song, when you come to the choruses or the bridges, but especially the choruses where you want a little bit extra energy, what you do is you inflate your mix by 0.5 dB. Boop. You can see that the master fader has bumped up by 0.5 dB or by 1 dB. If you wish to be excessive and combine them, you can go up 1.5 dB. But generally speaking, 0.5 dB bump up on your choruses just gives it that little extra energy, just kind of inflates your mix. Makes it very professional. Okay, so now that we have M3 loaded on our master fader, we are going to come over here to our kick, and just like our monoliths, we want to load an M3 on every single channel. And as we do, we loaded an M3 here and it propagated a channel here. When we load on our M3 on our snare, boop, now we've got another channel, and you can move these around. So even if you've had 40 of them already, and you added a brand new track, you recorded a brand new track, and that was a drum and a drum track, and you wanted to mix that with the other, move that over next to the other drum modules here in your mixer, you can just move them around. Now when you load these other M3s, they will come up as satellites. Now you can name whatever here, you can name the module, but you don't actually need to do this because you can do everything from here. You just basically need to have it there. And then you can create a group as well. So this will be the group that this is now part of. So, but like I said, you don't actually need to do that because that's all right here. When we select a module, this now becomes everything for that module. Now the presets here in M3, they're basically going to get you set up a lot more than the presets in mixed monolith. The presets in mixed monolith just set the level plane, but this does a lot more. So I've just created the presets. These will all be, in folders and categorized in your factory presets. But it is July 26th, and the M3 will be coming out this week before the end of July, or definitely by next weekend. So we might be off by a day or so from July, but that's because I added some additional features which you're going to love. But for right now, I was creating presets this weekend. Here they are, so I'm going to scroll through. When I choose my kick drum, you can see that the kick was already selected here. It created the drum group. It already created a duck expand group, and it already even not only set the target LUFS, but set a general applied gain setting for your target LUFS. So it kind of got everything set. When you create a preset yourself, you save one, it's going to save all of that. So if your applied gain was down here, when you load that preset will come up and your applied gain will be down here in the ballpark. And then now when you learn and mix, it's going to then just kind of final adjust it based on excuse me, that new track in that song that you're doing. But that way, instead of starting with this mix where you have to turn your main down like in Mix Monolith, because all of your levels are already, like at 0 maxed out, you will have a basic, ballpark mix, generally speaking, before you begin. So it's listenable, and then M3 will just finalize everything and set stuff on the proper level planes that are selected. So here we have our snare track. So if we select our snare, we come over here for our preset. Again, you're not going to have to scroll down, but I was creating presets. Snare drum, boom. So our applied gain here is 520, here is 450. We wanted target LUFS minus 25. We already have our group set, everything's there. Also, you can see there are colors. So you can color code your modules. So if this was a bass, for instance, let's go here to electric bass. Electric bass, I have it kind of set in the preset as blue. This all gets saved as part of your preset too. So when, like for guitars, I chose green, right? So all your guitar presets will be green. Your acoustics will be light green. So already everything will be set up. Color will be set right up immediately when you choose a preset. So it's all about efficiency. Okay. So, but let's go back here and choose snare. Okay. Now, again, you'll just have to go through and set them all up, but it's very simple. And it's when you see what M3 can do, it's a little bit of extra work, just like in Mix Monolith, but the end result is crazy. So choose another M3. It comes up. This is, let me see, a snare accent. I think I even created one for that. Accent duck. So already here you can see that for my snare accent, I want that to duck out of the way. So it's going to be receiving from the snare drop. It's already set to minus 3.5, the applied gain, rough ballpark setting. It's already set. So you can see here, this is your duck expand meter. So when you have ducking, it'll duck. When you have expansion, it'll start on the bottom part, boop, and show you the expansion. Okay, so all that'll be set up. Now you just keep going. What's next? Clap. So we'll just choose a M3. All right. And then we choose clap. Boom. So already you can see it's just kind of setting things up as you go through with one move. So yes, you can come up here, and if you want to change that, to, I want to have 3 Ps in it. Boom. When I change it there, you'll see it changes here, but since that is the same, if you wanted this a different group, you call it whatever you want. Boop. Okay, now that's the group, but I want it to be on drums. This is why you don't have to do anything here. You just need to load a satellite onto every channel of your mix, and then that'll propagate. And again, you can move these around, and then everything is done here. You choose the preset, bam, you're basically almost ready to go. And yeah, you'll be surprised. So let me finish setting this up, and I'll show you what's next. All right, so now that I have set up everything, so let me get this out of the way, show you. I have loaded an M3 on all of my individual tracks. I have loaded an M3 on all of my stereo buses, and all of that is right here in my mixer. I can scroll through like this, or if I put the cursor up here and I use the scroll wheel on my mouse, I can scroll through like this. I can move things however I want, move them around. Regardless of where they were populated, inserted in my DAW, I can organize my mixer as I see fit. And this will be will stay that way. Okay, now before I continue on, let me just kind of mention another couple reasons why we did it this way. Really cool reasons. So let's just say you were working and accidentally you got rid of this M3 that is on your master fader. Not a problem. These are all individual preset or all individual plugins. So you just simply reload M3 here on your master. Okay. It comes up as a satellite. No worries. Just simply say, go under the settings here, change plugin type. And there you go. You're right back. Everything remained exactly the same. The only the only thing that got lost you'd have to do again on your master here is you would have to relearn and mix your master fader. So if you did that and you're like, oh man, I didn't mean to, and this was -2, well, just learn and mix your master again. Boop, it sets it, and you're good to go. Same thing with any one of these other ones. If you accidentally got rid of it, no problem. Just reload that M3. It will repopulate a module in here. You can move it into place, wherever it needs to be, and then just simply reselect that preset. Learn and mix just that channel. You have learn and mix here for this for the individual channels. You also have individual mute and solo for each one, as well as a mute group and solo group, which I'll talk about in a minute. But everything stays very efficient. Okay, you're never gonna lose work and be stuck. All right. Another reason why we did it this way is because this kick is this. So this module is this plugin. This module is that plugin, which means any automation that I write to this, right? If any kind of automation changes, mute, whatever I do for this module, which is this plugin, gets written to the automation lanes of my kick track in my DAW. So anything I do to my snare right here gets written to the automation lanes of my snare here, and so on and so forth. So that way, all of your automation stays organized on each track, with each channel, each module, each track in your DAW. You can go in and edit. You know exactly where everything is at. It stays efficient. So no matter if you have 300 tracks on the 100th track, which might be let's say you're doing a soundtrack, might be a violin. That violin would be written to the violin track in your DAW, whatever your DAW is. Okay, so it just efficient and organized. Okay, that's the reason why we did this. All right, so now that we have everything set up, all we need to do, and remember with the presets, it kind of got everything in the ballpark. We're just going to go back to beginning here to learn and mix all channels, and you know what, we'll learn and mix our master as we go through as well. So let's just do that. Oh, there we go. And you can see up all these things, all the duck, expansion meters are showing you what's happening where. So you already kind of, as you go through, you know what's happening, what's being sent, and all that. What's expanding, like right here. What's expanding, what's ducking. All right. Now, as I mentioned before, all of these have individual mute and solos. All right, so in Mix Monolith, the mute and solo that was on there was just for the groups. So let's just say that we were going to do vocals, and we want to solo that. All right, so now our vocals are all soloed. And we can unsolo, resolo individually as we see fit. Nice. The lead vocal here, which is just an idea. That's why I'm singing gibberish. Yeah, that's me. So this is now ducking my reverb, and I can go in and make whatever changes. Boom. Okay. Now even as we're going, so I soloed the vocals. What if I wanted to hear, all of these together, and I wanted to hear the drums as well? Okay, we just select those. How about the bass? You just hear the drums. Cool. There's no effects on them. It's just, raw. This is just a little idea, schmutzy thing. All right, so let's go back to drums. Cool. And so now there you see you have individual mute and solos, and as well as mute and solo groups. As you saw, we did the learn and mix all. Right here, we also have learn and mix by group. Under learn and mix, mix all channels, we also have lock all. So we can just very easily lock every single module within our M3 mixer. We can undo it. We can actually lock by groups. If we go to drums, we're just locking the drums, okay? If we want to just lock the keys, same sort of thing. All right, what if we just want to learn and mix the keys? We're just learning and mixing the keys. If we want to learn and mix just the drums, boom, same thing. So you can learn and mix by groups. You can lock your groups. You can mute and solo your groups. You can mute and solo individual modules, tracks. Everything that you need to do is here, okay? You're very, very organized. Now, in this section here, we changed a couple things. We added something that's really neat, but one of the first changes we made was on the amount. We expanded that to 25. So now you have plus minus 25 ducking expansion. My son does EDM, needs more ducking for that type of music. So we expanded the amount from 12 in Mixed Monolith to 25 here in M3, okay? One of the other things we did was here, let's go to the strings, let's solo those. I just want to do this one. Okay, so here in the group, normally if you have no group, okay, you can select a group for your duck expansion. But in all of them, you also have self. So when you choose self, whatever is coming in on that track, that element, is now feeding itself for this group. So it is controlling excuse me, the duck expansion group, effectively turning this into a compressor. Now, one of the cool things is this is basically what compression was in the beginning. So if you want to understand compression, so let me just play this. You can see for this string, if I turn it off, you might have a little bit of this naturally with the chorusing, right? And so it's kind of handling that, sort of riding itself, which this was compression. Let me show you a better example of that, which is one of the really cool features here. Go up under your settings, see where it says fader follow amount. Now you have a good understanding of what compression actually is. In the beginning, this is what engineers used to have to do. They used to have to ride a fader, okay? And by doing it this way, remember that this is being written to the strings. So if I wanted to free this up, I wanted to write this movement to my DAW fader, which let me move this out of the way. You can see the other strings, I have already done that. So I already wrote that. So it's leveling it out to my DAW faders. And now I'm just using the M3 modules to set things on the proper level plane. And again, remember, this is going to my string track. So let me go over here. I'll just show you how easy this is. All right, so I'm going to write my strings. It is sending that. There you go. It's automatically writing it. All right, now let's say, okay, I wrote that all the way through. I can just go here to select the tool, my range tool, Use whichever one you need to in your DAW. I can copy that. I can go to my actual DAW fader, put it there. I don't need this one here. Couldn't be any easier. Backspace. All right, turn this one off. Collapse that. Go back over here. And now you will see that DAW fader is now moving, which means I can go in here to my string and I can just turn this off. So I can turn it off there, get rid of self as no group, and now I can learn and mix. And set it right on this level plane, while my DAW faders are assisting me. So this is, M3 is actually basically the ultimate DAW automation programmer, because any kind of moves you make here, you can transfer them right over to your DAW faders, and then that frees it all up. So however you want to work, not, mix, or M3 no longer has to be pre or post. It doesn't matter. Pre or post fader in your DAW. You can insert M3 however you want. And then you can use M3 by itself. You can use M3 to program and in conjunction with your DAW faders, however you want to work. Okay. Oh, also when I do that, I now need to move this since I have post fader. So now my DAW fader is moving, and now M3 is going to set things right on the level plane. All right. Post fader automation. And you can do the same thing down here. You can see that everything's moving. It's follow fader. So you can use this if I wanted to take the ducking of the snare drum or the hi-hats or whatever, or the bass, and I wanted to actually write that to my automation lane for this fader. I could just leave it as, for my hi-hat fader or for my bass fader, and then that would free up my group. I can get rid of it, and that frees my group up to do with something else while my fader is programmed. So with fader follow, you turn that on when you want to actually program and write that type of movement to your DAW in conjunction with any other thing, any other fader movement you're doing. So let your creativity go with that one. Think about what you can do with that. And then it's good you want to turn it off when you're done doing that, because if you have that on, fader follow is on, you can't really move things because it would kind of confuse it. So it's primarily used to when you're going to program, send your duck expansion information to a fader and write that to your DAW, and then turn it off, and now you're good to do other things. And then of course, once you've done that, turn off your groups because you've freed them up. All right. Now, one of the other things we added is for each module, you can see we have 3 captures. Okay, these are gain captures for your fader. Let me go back here, and I'm going to mute this just manually. I don't want to hear the vocals. All right. So let's say that this sort of synth thing here, I can mute it, or if I want to, I can, this is the level plane was already set. So we learned and mixed, and it's already set, and I'm going to hold down Control, and I'm going to right click, and you see how it's blue. If I don't, it's red. So if I hold down blue, now I have set that capture. It shows you what it is up here. All right. Now if I turn this down and I hold down Control and I hit 2, now 2 is set. You can see that the capture 2 was set to -64, and capture 1 is minus 10.9. And now I can go back and forth. So it automatically would just instantly move. So if I want, I can do it this way instead of mute. But let's just say, I'd have to get that where it's in time. But let's just say that I want to not have it instantaneous. I want to do it in time with the music. Well, here we have it's sync, and we can choose a note. So let's just say I want it to go down by an eighth note. Okay, now I hit sync. When it's red, now you can see that it will go by an eighth note whenever I hit or a bar. So one measure, it will change levels by in time, one bar. If I want to, I hit it one more time, and now sync is blinking, which means it will not, no matter where I hit this, whenever the next bar comes around, it will start. So you don't have to be exact. So if you had this set to like, half, 1/2, you would, as a song is coming around, if I hit it on one beat, the next time that half measure comes around, boop, then it'll start and do that half measure. So it'll put itself in time. Let's just put this back to a bar, okay, and play. All right, here we go. So it's right on the, right on the beat. So it starts for 1. Let's go to half. So it just starts on that half measure every time, so on and so forth. If we wanted to do for a quarter note, if we wanted short, if we want all the way up to 8 bars. So I could hit it and then I have to wait. Now that 8 bar, it'll come down. I can hit it again and I can move on to other things, and boop, and 8 measures later, once it gets down, it'll go back up. So it's very easy to program any kind of changes that you want using your captures, and you could go from just a like one level plane to another. So let's just say that I wanted, we're set at -25 level plane. Let's go to -30. Okay, boop. Now I right click and do 2. Let's just, okay, we have everything off. We want it for, let's do an 8th note. Okay. So instantaneous, or whenever we hit it, now it's an 8th, or now it's going to be in time. So it makes it very smooth and right in time. Of course, now I can just hit write automation on my synth track, and I can write that in to the automation lanes for this fader, copy it over to my DAW faders if I want, or just leave it for this. And then that way I can go in and I can change whatever, edits whatever I want for the automation. So yeah, it makes writing level automation very easy. Kind of however you want to do it. You can program it with these faders, get in there, edit it, boom, 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 and everything. All of that, no matter how many tracks you have. Remember, the 808 hat gets written to the 808 hat track. The string one gets written to the string one track, and so on and so forth. Vocals, same thing. Okay. Now, you could do some really neat stuff. Okay, so let's go here to the bass. All right, let's go. It's kick drop. Let's say we want that to expand, or excuse me, it is expanding. All right, it's at -28. It's coming up by 3. Let's say we want him to, which means 28 plus 3 dB is -25. Let's set this 25. Let's go down to -40. Okay. Boop. And we're going to go to our mount and set that to 15. Hear all the rest of the bass notes that are not hitting with the kick sound like grace notes way in the background. Well, But if we wanted to get extreme with it, we only wanted to really kind of hear those. We could go here to 45. And then now if we wanted to program that, use your imagination when it comes to leveling. Now for the level bump feature here in the master section, I've changed to another song that has choruses because I want to show you this feature and how, inflating the important parts of your song, your chorus, bridge, whatever, makes a difference, either by half a dB or 1 dB. Okay. Now this song there's no reverbs on the drums because I'm going to be using it in a video for parallel processing, which, by the way, you've been doing. Even if you've never done parallel processing, you actually have always been doing parallel processing. Adding reverb to something just that simple is parallel processing, because you're taking whatever the original is, you're adding something else that's along with it, a different version of itself, processing of it in parallel with it. Adding reverb is parallel processing, which means the 5 controls 3 rule, which go back to Universal Mixing Part 1 and see the chapter 5 level planes controls 3 dB. Excuse me. But that makes all of your parallel processing, whether it's reverbs, whether it's distortion, whether it's compression, whether it's EQ, it makes it all very easy, because remember, if you can hear it, it's a noise. So it doesn't matter if it's compression, doesn't matter if it's reverb, doesn't matter if it's distortion, it doesn't matter. 3 level planes down is where you'll hear that element, from the original. You'll hear that element with almost no addition of volume, no increase in volume. And then of course, 4 level planes down, even less volume increase. And then 5 level planes down, it's very transparent. You can kind of feel it, and there's no increase in volume. And you just do that for everything, all your parallel processing. So I'll be using this song for that. Anyways, but let me show you this right now. Okay, so here's the pre-chorus. I'm going to use the half dB bump as we hit the chorus.
Consigues reacción sin satisfacción, nadie lo sabrá. Y si sales meto y batea, lugares favoritos. Y si sales meto y batea, lugares favoritos.
Okay, one of the things I also wanted to show you, and I noticed here, you can see that there's heavy guitars that come in on the chorus, and we have regular guitars that are still playing as well. And again, you don't need a master class in level planes from me for this process at all. You just have to accept that level planes exist, and remember 2 numbers, 3 and 5. That's it. Class is over. Class dismissed. That's it. Because with the guitar here playing at -25 and the heavy guitars coming in at -25, 25, 25, the increase is always 3. So that together they're playing at -22. Well, if I put them both down to -28 to combined 28 and 28, increase of 3, they'll be playing at -25. But excuse me, I do want a little bit of volume, a little bit of extra guitar volume. So instead of dropping them both down, I'm going to use these level plane buttons here and drop down -3. So for users that have used Mixed Monolith, the fine-tuned fader, if you hit the plane plus plane 1 or +1 plane, +2 plane, or foreground or background, those would quickly jump 3, 5, 10. Here we just have the buttons. So from 0 we have +3, +5, +10. So you can just do quick increases. And then if you like it, then you can just type it in, mix it, change it. But we're just going to do a quick decrease, because we have -3, -5, -10. We want to go down -3 on the the heavy guitars. Essentially, we've turned it down from minus 25 to minus 28. So with the heavy guitars playing at minus 28, the regular guitars playing at minus 25, there will be a little increase in volume, but not that much. You'll still hear like this inflation of the guitars with a little bit of volume, but not all the way up to minus 22 with them playing together. So now we'll do this, and I'm going to actually use the +1 level bump on the chorus and give this a listen.
Evitar lo común, consigues reacción. Sin satisfacción, nadie lo sabrá. Y si sales meto y el batea, lugares favoritos. Y si sales meto y el batea, lugares favoritos.
And there you go. So mixing with level planes, this whole process is incredibly easy. And now with M3, that is a mixer that is built around level planes that gives you all of these extra features for, creating automation, level automation, very easily, either, by itself, again, pre or post fader insert doesn't matter. You can just simply use M3, or use it to hijack your DAW faders and incorporate them as well and write automation to them like we did in the strings, or write all of the stuff right to use it to just program those and then free up. However you want to do it, but all of it, including your DAW faders, anything that has to do with level planes are all you need. They have always existed. They are all you need. They're not the beginning, and they're not just the beginning point, the starting point. They are the ending point. They are the only point. So that is M3. It is July 26 right now as I'm making this video. This is the development copy, and we're getting ready to release. So this week coming up, no later than next weekend, you will have M3 in your hands. Oh, one other thing too. So it's not on this yet because this is one of the features that we added. So if you go up here under settings, you will also see, so you have reset capture, peak RMS, because you can change the metering from peak, which is default to RMS, but you will also see white text or gray text, excuse me. And what that is during the pre-sale period, a user who is a good friend of mine mentioned, hey, I really like the blue, but I kind of have eyesight issues. Is there a possibility to have a gray version? Yes. So you will change to gray text, and your learn and mix buttons will stay the same, but all of this blue up here will change to the more traditional mixed monolith gray. So it'll be a lot easier on the eyes. I like the blue for atmosphere and stuff like that when I'm working, but if you want, you can just change from the blue to the gray or back, however. So that will be an additional feature. So, all right, get ready. M3 is coming. Auto Demasker is next, and happy mixing.
Evitar lo común, consigues real.